You said Earthbound, and I thought of a really good character for a Super Smash Bros. Game.
What?
You made me think of Earthworm Jim.
Oh! Yes! Oh my god.
He would be so good.
When we
Damn!
Yeah. Welcome to Leveled Up Conversations, where we take conversations to the next level. I'm your host, Shane Simmons, and today's show is going to work a little differently. We're going to be doing a recap of the past shows, responding to people's comments. We have our director, editor-in-chief here, Jimmy Radcliffe.
Oh, hello.
Thanks for joining us today, Jimmy.
Thanks, Shane.
30 seconds or less. You know the drill. Let me know a little about yourself. Ready? Go.
All right. So I'm Jimmy. As Shane said, I am the editor, director, producer, cameraman, although right now we've just got the camera on the tripod. It's very fancy.
Fancy, huh?
Yeah, we are fancy. I'm from
Yes.
Detroit. I am a big audiobook nerd, as well as a film buff, maybe. I like videos. And I consider myself a casual gamer.
Time.
Perfect.
That was
Right
good.
on time.
Yeah, you were the only person yet to
good.
end at the end of his
That was
sentence, except for Louis, who just ended
Yeah.
like 10 seconds in, which was cheating.
I'm done.
Well, he's a
It
boss.
wasn't cheating. You said 30 seconds.
Yeah, you
or
said
less.
a record.
Loophole.
And that was less.
Loophole.
Before we move forward, somebody else hasn't done it yet. Ready?
Yes.
And go.
So, my name's Shane. I'm pretty awesome. I'm from Oroville, California, which is not awesome, but it's fun. And I moved down here about 4 years ago to the Bay Area. Been working at GameStop, Apple, Lego, just a bunch of fun places. Started playing video games super young and just been loving it ever since. Mainly shooters, mainly console games. Starting recently to dive into other games because the people that I was around, like LOL, a little bit of MMOs, but not so much.
Time.
Alright. That was good. Do you guys know me now?
Not bad.
I feel like
Or
it.
leave
Apparently
some
a little
deeper
bit.
secrets?
Enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
Alright. So, let's start with the first episode. We got comments from different places. Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, text messages, just people conversating with us. I got them written down here, so we can go ahead and get started with that. So, first one on our first video, which was... What was our first video about?
The first one was about why there isn't another great Super Smash Brothers game.
See, it was a test. You guys make me proud. First one was from Reddit. Comment, how would other Super Smash Brothers games be viewed if not just as rip-offs? That was a little weirdly worded. But so Reddit wants to know, wouldn't other Super Smash Brothers style games just be rip-offs in that case? Because one of the points that I was making was it has to be so similar, otherwise it's not going to be great, right? It had to follow the health system, the killing system, otherwise it's not going to be a great game. So do you guys think that it would be seen as rip-offs?
Oh, it would. I think it would be seen as one. Whether or not it actually is or not how you want to define that, but I think any game that comes out in that genre is inevitably going to be called a ripoff.
Well, let me point this out to you guys. Do you think that every platformer is a ripoff of like the regular Mario?
See, that's the topic I want to bring up, is I don't feel like it's a ripoff, I think it's something else in the genre. And we saw this a lot, we see this when it's a new genre. For example, what Dota did, where they were the first MOBA. MOBA wasn't a thing. Multiplayer Online Battle Arena was not a genre. There was just Dota. And then League of Legends came out. And there were probably some between that, but League of Legends was the next big one. And now there's like, here's a new Arth, and WoW's making one, and there's Smite, and there's other of them thrown in there. But LoL was just, no, this is a rip-off of Dota. That's all it is. This is a cheaply made Dota. I don't want to play this. No, LoL's amazing, and it has huge player base, and it's just another addition to the genre.
I mean, my point was that even if it isn't, I think it would be called one. Whether or not you can break down that logic and say, oh no, it's just Smash Bros. Is one of the only games in the genre, so if you make another one in that genre, it's called a ripoff because it's the only one in that genre. But I don't think I think it would always be called a ripoff, at least initially, until, like in that example, another big one comes out, like which what we're hoping for, and then the genre gets expanded, and now you're no longer a ripoff.
Yeah, I think it might be looked at that, but it really wouldn't be, especially if somebody can excel at it the same way Super Smash Bros. Did, then it just becomes another great game.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it has a lot to do with the success. The whole LoL being a ripoff of Dota. I mainly heard that from Dota players. Like, people that were playing LoL wouldn't say this is a ripoff of Dota. They would just say it's another edition of the genre because they viewed it as another great game. So
This is true.
Yeah.
number 2 was brought to us on our YouTube video,
Channel.
YouTube channel. There we go.
Yeah, we're official.
Yeah, we're real. Not for play, but for show. How cool would a Disney Super Smash Bros. Style game really be? Which characters would we want to see the most? Louis,
Here we
answer
go.
this
Time
question.
to shine.
I think almost any other villain from Disney might do well. Imagine like Cruella de Vil running around throwing puppies at people.
Have the puppy
Meet
gun
someone with
like
a
the
puppy.
kid in Crossbow from Family Guy.
Yeah,
Or Ursula and all of her tentacles.
yeah. All of her tentacles would just like whip people. So
And she had magic.
Yeah,
she did have magic.
Just going
then
through the
again,
first-
every villain had some sort of
Not
magic.
every villain. Captain Hook would be great.
the
He
dude
doesn't
from
have any
Tarzan
magic.
didn't have any magic.
Yeah.
What was his
Okay.
name?
Yeah, technology might as well.
But I don't think they would be great. There wasn't as much
Villainous.
nostalgia. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
but the villain in Tarzan isn't
Some dude.
as widely known. Yeah, he was just some dude
Right,
with a,
there was nothing
with a
special about
musket.
it.
I think Wreck-It Ralph would do great just because it is of that genre. That's where it took a lot of the inspiration. Oh, hey, Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wreck it.
Shameless.
So just Ralph running around like smashing people. You'd even get Fix-It Felix in there with his hammer.
There you go.
Or Aladdin would be a great
Ooh.
character, like parkour style.
For sure.
Parkour style.
One of the things that comes to mind when we talk about a Disney Super Smash Bros. Style game, I just finished, almost finished. I'm on the very last part of Kingdom Hearts 1.5 Remix, and anytime like I get talking about like Disney making franchise, I'm like, just run through what Kingdom Hearts did, take those characters, throw them in a different style game, and there you go. That's what I would love to see. Like, I would love to see a Kingdom Hearts style brawler. I would love to see Sora in with Donald and Goofy and Simba and Aladdin and just all these other characters.
That'd be great. Are we talking Disney Classic or the expanded Disney universe now? Because imagine how cool a lightsaber would be in a Super Smash Brothers style game.
Yeah.
Some Force powers or even Marvel characters.
Yeah. Now that it owns the rights. We kind of touched on that in the video, just a little though.
That's kind of why I picked them to be the biggest ones, because they own everything.
They own
Right.
everything.
I mean, you can make a game just with Disney, but they also own Marvel and Star Wars.
Oh,
so-
sure. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Alright, so next comment was on Reddit, and someone was asking, what about a Sega Super Smash Bros. Style game? And for me, I was like, well, the only characters that I really love that Sega makes are Sonic. And I was talking to Lucas about this not too long ago, where in the next Super Smash Bros. Game, I really want to see Sonic, but also Knuckles and Tails. Like, Knuckles especially, but you're more often going to get Tails than Knuckles, but Knuckles is my favorite Sonic character. I want him in the next one. So what do you guys think?
What was that on the Dreamcast? When the Dreamcast was released, there was that one game where you collected a bunch of jewels and you it was like a big arena where you fought everyone and you had to collect a bunch of diamonds or something like that. Oh, what was that called?
I cannot remember. I know
It was fun, as much as we can't remember what it was called. Doesn't mean it wasn't memorable.
Yeah, I just remember the 2K Sports from Dreamcast.
I remember Crazy Taxi.
Yes,
That being a
was
fantastic
the
game.
to have on the Dreamcast.
That'd be interesting having Smash Brothers Taxi come through.
So when I think like an item, not like actual like you can play this character, but while you're fighting, someone throws out a Pokeball equivalent or picks up what was the little like the glass globe thing,
Trophies.
the trophy thing, and it opens up and a taxi comes out and runs over everyone.
Yeah.
Like that'd be cool.
That would be
Well,
really
or
cool.
you could go back now. My memory's a little fuzzy because I was very young when Sega, the original like Master System, was out. But thinking about diving back into those like 8-bit days with Sega, and there's gotta be a bunch of characters back then. I'm sorry that I don't remember most of them right now because I didn't have a Sega, I had a Nintendo.
Me too.
But that
Hipster kids.
that would be a great thing to pull from because
Right.
Nintendo does that too with like Ice Climbers and
Yeah.
Kid Icarus
Yeah, going back with these characters that we've never even seen before and grabbing them and throwing them in a game.
I think we're forgetting two great characters that would be great in a Super Smash Brothers style game. Mike Tyson and George Foreman both have their own knockout style games on the Game Gear.
That would be great.
I would like to see Glassjaw Joe. Was that the
Glassjaw Joe? Yep.
Yeah, I would like to see him in a Smash Brothers game.
Yes.
That would be super epic. So, next one, Andrew Nolan said, fact check, Super Smash Bros. Didn't come out with the console launch.
This is false. That is entirely false. Melee came out with the GameCube. That was a console getter for the game.
So, we
The
went
other two,
Andrew.
no.
Yeah,
You
but
were like
the rest of them
two-thirds
didn't.
right.
Yeah. Also asked which characters should be in the game as opposed to who should make it. We already touched on that a little bit, but one thing that we talked a lot about on the video was just which company should make this. Should it be Marvel? Should it be DC or so on and so forth? We didn't exactly go into which characters we want to see, and I guess that's kind of what he's pointing at. Which characters would we want to see in that game? So what do you guys think?
Well, would we want the Disney game to, like, the entire Disney universe, or would it be just one?
Take it
That's
away
the first
from
thing.
the universe. Take it away from like Disney and Marvel. Which video game character do you want to see in a Super Smash Bros. Style game? Okay, let's just look at it like that. And Lucas, which BioWare character are you gonna pick?
Shush you. I don't know. It's weird when I think about it, because like I have some favorite characters from BioWare games, but they don't really fit in like a Smash Bros. Games. Like to me, that's kind of how Snake was.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure a lot of people love. It's not. I didn't play PlayStation games. So I didn't have my love for Snake. But when they threw him in the game, he just was out of place. Everyone else was very cartoony in there, and then there's Snake, who uses real guns and real explosions and everything.
And cardboard boxes.
And the cardboard box. To
Real
taunt you
cardboard
with.
boxes.
Right, but he seems kind of out of place. So if I were to be like, I want Darth Malik from KOTOR to be in it, he could be, but I don't know, it wouldn't fit to me.
And that was one of the cool things about PlayStation All Stars is they didn't care. Like you
Right.
had Fat Princess and Sackboy standing next to Raiden and Radek, and it was just okay, going with it.
Yeah.
So you could throw in people from KOTOR and just have them play like Marthwood, just like hack and slash like that. What do you think? That'd be
I
good.
guess, yeah. I mean, there's that. There's I could pull from hundreds of characters.
Well, let me throw this one out to you. The duck from Duck Hunt. Just come out and taunt you.
No, I would want the Beagle from Duck Hunt.
Beagle? Yeah.
Every time you died, he just comes up and he's like, "What is
Laughs.
wrong with you?"
Yeah.
And then goes back
That would be
away.
kind of cool.
Or like a New Age style of taunt. He just teabags your body after you die.
Oh, good
There
lord.
you go. There you go. You're onto something. Yeah.
I think maybe like a Street Fighter character thrown in there might be kind of cool.
Okay.
Like, but
Then you run into the Street Fighter as
Then
the
you-
fighting game.
yes. So to kind of combat that and make it feel a little bit more in place, maybe like a puzzle fighter,
Yeah, I was going to say that.
and then have it in that tiny style and throw some jewels at you or some
There you go.
pieces, things like that. I think that would be kind of cool.
That'd be pretty awesome. For me, if I could grab any, I don't know. I'd want to throw like a Marvel character in there. I'd want to throw Venom in there. I think that'd be really cool, especially seeing him from like Marvel vs. Capcom. Just throwing him in the style game, the way that the symbiote can come in and act as like other limbs and stuff. I think that'd be a really cool concept for it.
Rocket Raccoon.
Rocket Raccoon. There you go.
yeah.
There you go.
Good fit.
That attitude would fit in there perfectly with those things. Lastly, get your phone out of the videos. I don't know what you're talking about, Andrew. Like,
I don't see it.
do you guys...
No,
Alright, so maybe he's talking about a different video or
Yeah.
something. 'cause
Ah.
I've never...
not us.
Yeah, no.
We don't do that.
Cheers to you for being wrong.
Just falsified everything. No, this is some great points that were brought up. Second episode, which was...
It was Louis.
Why are there no great superhero video games?
Apart from the Arkham series. Yes, exactly. This one's from Reddit. RichB83 said, I never actually thought about it, but it seems every year I'm salivating for some kind of X-Men game. How do you guys feel about that comment?
I feel like X-Men is a great start for video games because of the amount of characters that are in it. And you do get there are some pretty decent X-Men games out there, or at least there were, not anything recent. But you've just got so many different characters and powers to choose from that it's a great foundation for what could be a really good video game. The big thing with it would be the style. Like, how are you playing this video game? Is it going to be that party where you've got 4 characters out and you can switch between them? Or, I mean, I really loved the Street Fighter X-Men fighting game. That was, or Marvel Street Fighter. But that was great. That made perfect sense because you've got all these powers and it's great to throw them in there. Or would you want to do it in a completely different style that nobody's done yet with these characters? Like, then just popped into my head, what if you did a style in like the Uncharted series, that kind of like third-person shooter game with X-Men? Wouldn't necessarily have to be a shooter, but that style of gameplay.
And I feel like that's what we saw from the Deadpool game. And then X-Men, there was a Wolverine, just flat-out Wolverine game that took place recently around the time, not the newest Wolverine movie, but the previous one, Origins.
The terrible Wolverine movie.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah.
Where it was like a third person, one of them was a hack and slash, and the other one was like a Devil May Cry, like third person shooter side thing. And I like that he brought up X-Men because it's one of those things where whether you're a hardcore gamer or not so much, or a hardcore X-Men fan or not so much, you can still get bought into this game. Because what you get is you get these recognizable characters like Cyclops and Wolverine that we all know and most of us like, but then you get these more like in-depth characters that a lot of the public hasn't seen yet. Like we got to see Gambit, and he's my favorite X-Men, and you go into Colossus and Nightcrawler, and just like these X-Men characters that you don't see all the time that a lot of the public just wouldn't realize. And another point is the fact that X-Men generally have one power. Like, that's their mutant ability. They can do this one thing. So you don't get this super crazy overpowered guy and then this next guy next to him that doesn't seem so great. Everyone kind of has their one thing that they're good at and serves this one purpose.
I think a great story, thinking of that in the X-Men characters, would be a game about Rogue. Since she can adapt anybody's ability for a little while and use that. Like, you could have that be her on an adventure, and she has to take certain powers to get through certain areas of the game.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Almost turned into a puzzle.
Yeah.
That is kind of like what they're doing for the new Infamous game. Infamous Second Son, the main character now is no longer Cole from the previous 2 games. He can absorb other people's powers and like add them to his own. Or I haven't seen enough to know if it's adding them to his own or if he swaps them out. But like they're showing how he controls, it's either smoke or ash or something like that at the beginning of the game, and then he starts to control. It looks like it's just neon like energy, or it's electricity, or it's light, or something like that. And it's just cool having like go through part of the game and then you switch. So yeah, like what Rogue would be. What were you saying?
I think the other cool thing about X-Men is that there are a lot of characters, and a big draw for X-Men is that these are all teenagers going through some sort of like puberty stage, so they can, during the game, they can be discovering their powers and
having to go out and like, get deodorant and deal with facial hair and stuff.
Exactly.
And acne, right?
And acne.
Some of the cutscenes, voices suddenly drop.
Yeah.
But I think it opens up an avenue for just, you can do so many origin stories,
right,
with X-Men characters that you just have so many characters you can just play with.
Mm-hmm. And what you were kind of talking about earlier about maybe having X-Men Legends 3.
I would love
that. Would be incredible. Like a dungeon crawler, 4-person style of like fun to play. Let's get together and play this X-Men game. I feel like maybe the need for that had been replaced with the Lego games, especially with the Lego Superhero. But when you play that, it's like, it's the game I'm going to be playing with my girlfriend. It's the game a lot of my friends are playing with their kids. Like, I can't sit with my bros and play that game because we're like, oh, one hit kills everything, and we're just gathering blocks, and it's not really challenging, but it's fun, and it's hilarious. So, seeing, like, a dungeon crawler style X-Men game, or X-Men Legends style, like, new one would be really cool.
That would be amazing, because, like, X-Men Legends 1 was my introduction to X-Men as a whole. Like, I was familiar with them, like, everyone's familiar with X-Men as a whole, and I played the arcade game, and I was familiar with the basic ones, but when I rented X-Men Legends, and then I bought 2, that was how I grew to love X-Men as much as I do now, is because it just, there's a whole bunch of people I had not even heard of at all, hadn't even a whisper or nothing. And then I was looking them up on Wikipedia just to find out information. The games themselves give out a bunch of information about them, and plus they're just awesome games. So I would love to see X-Men Legends 3.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
I think that X-Men has the chance to break the mold of a movie tie-in with Days of Future Past coming out pretty soon. That was a really great storyline in itself in the comic books. Mm-hmm. So if they were to turn that into a video game, I think they can really, really do well. I think they can break that mold of a movie tie-in and a comic book superhero video game just sucking so bad.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because our next comment is from YouTube. Adam Middlecoff. He wrote a lot, but to sum it all up, there's a lack of great superhero games, in his opinion, because the studio behind the game isn't someone big with a lot of experience, like we see from Eidos Montreal doing, like Rocksteady doing the Arkham series. It's a game company making this game. Like they did Tomb Raider before and some other games as well, and then they took on the Batman games. So it's not someone big with a lot of experience, but instead a new company just starting off. And he's blaming like Marvel and DC, saying, you know, they're not grabbing this big studio to make this great game. They're just grabbing somebody who can make a game that coincides with the launch of the movie, so that way you get people to buy this game because it's the movie they just went and saw. And I feel like one of the issues that you run into with the movie superhero games is, alright, the movie's being made, the movie's almost done, the public knows about the movie, now let's start working on the game. And now let's try and get the game out around the same time as the movie. But we can't tell you too much about the game because then it ruins the movie. Same thing vice versa. So it's not generally a big developer. It's generally a nobody developer that we've never even heard of. It's generally rushed. It's generally just to buy in money.
They're cheap. It's a big thing is that new companies, they're desperate to make a game that's worth mentioning, and so they're not going to be as expensive as like if they try and grab Eidos Montreal.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the big reasons why they're used so much.
Well, remember when movie tie-in games weren't that terrible? Like, I'm thinking of the Aladdin game
Back
and
in the day,
Lion King.
The Lion King game was so difficult. I wanted to strangle someone.
That's also back when games were extremely difficult. That was the norm.
And that's going to be a topic for another show as well.
I'm really glad you brought those games up because Disney purchased LucasArts.
Thank you guys for watching part 1 of Level Up Conversations recap of the first 3 episodes that we did. Be sure and subscribe to our video so that way you can see the second that part 2 is released. Have a good one.